Alright guys, welcome back to my second video in terms of movie reviews for Mr. Pros and Cons movie reviews. I would like to apologize for a comment I said in Smoking Aces in which I was trying to give a little bit of trivia of someone who's in the movie. His name was actually Jack McBrayer as the character who shows up for a little bit in the movie. He was also in Grandma's Boy and 30 Rock. So once again, I apologize for that little mess up. But for now, this movie I'm reviewing is Cloverfield, and I understand it's still packaged, but that doesn't mean I haven't seen it. So, for those of you who don't know, this is kind of like a single shot lens, like a kind of a found footage film of a monster terrorizing New York. It begins with sort of a going away party for a friend of the people they're attending, obviously a friend of a majority of people. And the city gets terrorized by an unseen creature for most of the film. And there you go, like something has found us. And for most of it, for about, I guess, the first act of the movie, first third of it, it just shows bits and pieces of the creature, like an arm here and a leg there, which I think it does really well. The shaky cam is not really that shaky unless it has to be, like falling down a flight of stairs or stuff of that matter. Overall, it's It does a lot of suspense leading up to the big reveal of the monster itself. I guess the kind of side story to it is the main character here, God, who I can't really remember the name of, is trying to save his girlfriend who's in downtown Manhattan where the creature is rampaging through. That's kind of the side love story of it to it, where it's just kind of like the mission of why they're still continuing on through New York. It's kind of hokey, kind of a plot device to kind of get the movie through, but not that big of a gripe towards me. The movie is done really, really well. Again, from the shaky cam style. The build up to the movie itself was covered in a lot of mystery because no one knew the official title. I think up to, I believe, about 3 months prior to its release. It had, in fact, it had about 6 different names, including Slusho, Colossus, 11808. Along with some other names. This is actually directed by Matt Reeves, but it's the story that was given to us by J.J. Abrams, who gives us a lot of these kind of suspenseful, terrorizing the world kind of sense movies, and it does a really good job. Again, for those of you who didn't know, a little bit of trivia is the characters were kind of given. Actually, the actors were given screenplays of other horror kind of like low B-rated movie kind of scripts to see if they could perform really well, and that's how they introduced their cast. In fact, the cast themselves didn't get the final kind of scripts. Like, they would get 30 pages at a time, and they would have to perform those scenes, and they would get the next 30 pages, and they would follow up on those scenes, and so they wouldn't keep their appetite wet, just the way they kept our appetite wet. Now, the last third of it revolves around, I guess, 3 characters mostly, 4 if you include the monster. Or, well, once they reveal the monster, it does a really good job of showing how big and fierce it is, yet you find out later or outside the movie that it's just a mother. Actually, it's just a child lost in the new world, so it's terrified of everything it sees, so it tries to do what it can to protect itself. Pros of the movie. Again, the shaky cam is really done well. The first-hand kind of gimmick is really, really a good start to these kind. It's a really good thing for this genre, but when you see the kind of like the Paranormal Activity kind of films, I think it's just a little overplayed. But I think this was one of the very first ones to come back in the mainstream, because we had the big buildup of the Blair Witch Project and the Last Broadcast from the 90s kind of died down, and Cloverfield kind of picked it back right up, and then you had your Paranormal Activity and your so on and so on. Characters are good. They're amusing, charming, sometimes annoying, but they're real people. It's what they're trying to portray. So you can relate to them as best as you can in this kind of crisis. Again, these people were not really known at the time. They are kind of somewhat famous now. There's Lizzie Kaplan. I don't remember what else she was in, but she's good at her role. The monster itself, oh my god, it's an amazing spectacle to see. I believe 3 times you see on a full appearance. The first time you see it's only its face and front 2 arms. Next time you see it, I hope I'm not spoiling the movie too much, but then you see a bit of its growth, and the last time you see it, again, just a face and upper body kind of scenario. Con with it, when the shaky cam can get a little too out of control, it goes extremely out of control. The plot device of him trying to find his girlfriend kind of overdid it a little bit. Some side characters besides the main characters were kind of annoying. Like some of the army personnel were kind of just overreacting to overreacting is what I could say. So overdoing their bits. Anything else I see wrong with this movie? It's a nice setting because again, this was, since we didn't know what the movie was going to be about, what it was, we had a lot of expectation that it was going to be like a Godzilla sequel, which we were waiting for, but people keep forgetting that the cartoon itself was a sequel. But this was a full 10 years after the Godzilla rampage through New York, and that was a bomb, but this was done really well. It really threw the Monster Mash movies back into the spotlight because they were kind of dying out for a bit. So overall, I would have to give this movie about 4.5 out of 5. Small gripes. Overdone shaky camera. Some side characters were a little too much into character. And overall, it's a great movie. Enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. It's a monster movie. What else are you going to expect? Thank you for watching. I'll catch you later.